Hello guys and welcome to this small Nioh tutorial for new players. Okay, so you picked up Nioh and you picked it up because you read that it was Samurai Souls, and since I've seen a lot of posts on the Reddit, on the Nioh Reddit, where new players ask for tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do. Mostly in the beginning, then it gets more advanced, but right now we're concentrating on the basics of Nioh. Now, in a lot of aspects, it's similar to Dark Souls, but it's different in a lot of things. So, here's the rundown. Now, in the beginning of the game, you play like Dark Souls. When you're in the Tower of London, you don't do anything. You pretty much don't have stances. You live in mid-stance in there, and you play it like Dark Souls. You have no key pulses, you have nothing. So, what you do when you reach Japan? Now you choose two weapons, your main weapon and your secondary weapon, and you choose a Guardian Spirit. Okay, so you chose weapons. Now I chose katana, the sword, and dual katanas. Now, it doesn't really matter what you choose. You can use anything you want. The only thing this does is it gives you 1 point in heart because I chose sword, 1 choice in strength because I chose the Guardian Spirit Kato, and 1 point in skill because I chose the dual sword, and I have 1 more point in spirit because I leveled up once. I am level 2 right now. So first of all, in any menu you can press start and see what everything does. That's important. So just read what this does and you're going to be fine. Okay, one of the first questions that get asked is, what stats should I level? Now, I would advise in your first playthrough to put pretty much everything at 20. And then you will choose your build in the next difficulties, because in the first one it doesn't particularly matter. Honestly, even in Wave the Strong, which is New Game Plus, doesn't really matter much what you put, points you put on. It's not really that important. What's important is armor have requirements. Now, I don't think I have armor on that as requirements because I just started. Actually, it does. Okay, you see down there, it says body 3 and strength 4. Now, obviously, you start with 5 and 5 on default, so you can wear this thing, no problem. Usually, heavy armor requires stamina and strength. And light armor requires body and skill. So, choose what you want to level up first, depending on your style. Now, keep always in mind your equipment weight. If you use heavy armor, you're going to be really freaking heavy, so keep this in mind. You want to always stay with agility A or agility B. You don't want agility C or agility D. It's not good. Now, these are basically your rolls in Dark Souls. Until 30%, which means that A agility, it's fast roll. Until 70%, so 30.1% to 69.9% is your B agility, which is, the mid roll in Dark Souls. And then you have your fat roll after that. And you don't want to be in fat roll because it's not only your rolls that are affected, but also your key recovery speed, which is important. Because no key, no attack, no evasion. So keep that in mind. Also, this gameplay is a little bit more like Bloodborne if you really want to, get nitpicked. Mostly because you have no shields here. You can block and you will block with your weapon. And you dash. You can roll, but you dash most of the time. Rolls are another thing. That's a thing I'm going to explain now with the stances, because in Nioh you have these 3 stances you can see there in the lower right corner. Now, right now in mid stance, then you have low stance, then you have a high stance, and then you have your sheath and unsheath animation. Okay, now I'm in high stance. Alright, so let's unsheath the sword. You see, it's high, it's medium, it's low. Okay, what are the differences between this? Now, the tutorial you did should have probably explained this thing. Okay, so when let's start with the low stance. Now, low stance is amazing because it's fast. Okay, you can dash forever, and you consume less ki while you dash in low stance, and your attack are faster. Obviously, they do less damage. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, mid stance. Mid stance does more damage than low stance. It's not amazing, but it does more damage. So it is your bread and butter, pretty much, at least in your first playthrough, because this plays exactly like Dark Souls. Fast attack and heavy attack. Now, mid stance is perfect for blocking. Consume less ki when you block in mid stance. Another thing to be careful of is if you dash, it's fine. Dash, dash, dash. If you press the button too fast for the dash, you do a roll. This doesn't happen in low stance. In low stance you can dash, I'm just spamming the button, it doesn't matter. In mid stance you dash and you roll, you dash and you roll. Okay? Now you usually do not want to roll. So be careful on timing your dashes when you're in mid stance. Anyway, you should be in low stance when you dodge, and then when you're almost there to hit, you switch to mid or heavy stance. So that's, you know, your style of combat. It depends, obviously. It depends on the weapons you're using, but you should learn to change stances. Now, high stance. Alright? It's slower, does a lot more damage. This is your boss killing stance. Then you go into low stance, you dodge, go in heavy, and do this, and then you change, do this, change, do this, change, do this, change, do this. That's your Nioh basic strategy. Alright? Or if, you know, the boss, you're not really sure what to do, you can block in mid stance. So you block in mid stance, and when it's time, you go like this, and then you block like this. Okay? Just look at the stances. I block, 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 change stance, attack, change stance, block. Okay, so that's what you do, usually. Learn the stances. That's important that you learn how to change stance, when to change stance, and what to use and when. It's important in this game. Another thing in this game is that block is viable. Now, in Dark Souls, blocking is powerful, but I'm pretty sure if you're playing this game is because you really played Dark Souls. Now, any Dark Souls veteran knows that start with a shield, but after like 1 or 2 playthroughs or something, you just abandon the shield in favor of something else. The shield really doesn't do much anymore unless you're parrying, but you can parry with other stuff. So, you know, you abandon your shield after some time. Or at least you do some playthroughs with no shield. Now, you can do that here. You can just dodge everything. Sure, you can. Keep in mind, if they hit you, they're going to not really stun lock you, but they're going to stun you a little bit. So you can, I mean, if I'm getting hit like now, I cannot dodge as soon as they hit me. I'm stunned for like half a second, something like that. So in that time, you can block, but you cannot dodge. Which means if you get hit like that, you run the risk of getting stun locked, which is a problem. So, you know, learn when to block, learn when to dodge. That's pretty important. Now, let's talk about the concept of key pulses. Key pulses, yeah. Now, in Bloodborne, when you get hit, you can recover some of your health by attacking and hitting your enemy, as long as you still have that indicator on your health bar. Now, it's the same concept with the key pulses. Now, you see the key, the green bar and the red bar, you see? Now, if I just attack like this and I don't key pulse, my key is done. But if I do press R1 at the correct moment, I regain a bunch of my key, which means I can do longer combos. Alright? Now, key pulses with R1 is good while you combo, but what you really want is these skills. They are all called Living Water. So we have Living Water Heaven, Heaven for high stance, Man for middle stance, and then we have Earth for low stance. Okay, so what this thing does, it's really important. Now it says right here, what it says here, I believe it's a translation error, because it says enable you to keep pulses even when dodging. Now what I learned about it is that you should like dodge and press R1 to keep pulse while you dodge, which it's not the case. You pretty much, when you unlock that skill, you keep pulses while dodging automatically. You don't have to press R1. It's basically, I do usually my combo, I do this, I go back, and while I go back, I keep pulse automatically. Now, that's why these skills are extremely important. And the best part is, if you unlock this thing for the sword, or for any weapon really, they're unlocked for any other weapon. Same as Grapple. Grapple is another really important skill that I'm going to show you right now. Now, this is obviously your skill menu. You have the weapons right here, your 7 weapons. Then you have ninjutsu and omnio. Ninjutsu and omnio are things that you do not want to ignore. These are important. Because, for example, in the ninjutsu 3, you have sneak attack. Sneak attack is your backstab. So basically, if you come behind an enemy that doesn't notice you, you can backstab him, doing massive damage. And in Omnio, you have good stuff like quick change. And quick change is basically, if you watch Naruto, is Kawarimi no Jutsu or something, I don't know, it's the... I don't know. Anyway, when you die, you come back to life with like a fourth of your health. It's really important, especially in the later difficulty when everything pretty much one-shots you. Okay, other than your skills, you have your skill customization menu, where for each weapon you can choose which skill do with a combination of, buttons. So obviously I haven't learned anything here, but I can do grapple because I learned grapple, and obviously I can do it with any single weapon. Another thing, you cannot parry at the beginning in this game. You have to unlock your parry skills. It doesn't matter which weapons you're using. Every weapon has a parry skill. They're all different. The sword is the one that parries the most. You have 3 skills for parry. So if you really enjoy a parrying game, go for the sword. Or dual sword. It has a really great parrying abilities. Now, that is out of the way. I'm going to show you something about the combat. Now, this guy is my little guy. Now, you see, he hit me. I show you that he hits me. And while he hits me, I cannot move. Which is why I block. Because I can block. When he hits me, I get stunned a little bit, but I still can block. I just can't move. Which is why it's important to block. Now, you can see he has 2 bars there. Is the same as ours. He has his life bar and his key bar. Now, when his key bars gets depleted, I can do a grapple attack, which will destroy him. Or if he gets on the ground, I can do a finishing blow, which is the same thing basically, just on the ground. Okay, so let's wait for him to finish his key, and I'll show you the grapple attack. Now, it's red, I grapple attack him, and he dies. Okay, that's one important lesson in the combat of Nioh. Now, key management is pretty much everything in this game. Your key, enemy key, that's the most important part. Okay, so another thing I can tell you is which stats to bring up in the beginning. I would advise to put Spirit at 10. Now, sure, you're going to end up pretty much with everything at 20, at least in your first playthrough, but you want Spirit first because your Guardian Spirit, which in my case is Scato, you see, he has passive abilities. It doesn't just work with the living weapon when, you press your Y and B and, your weapon comes on fire and you kill everything. That's not just it. Your Guardian Spirit has passive abilities that are always with you, at least until you have your Guardian Spirit. And now, as you can see, my key recovery speed 20% requires 7 in Spirit. And to unlock them all, I require 10. Which means that's the first thing I want to do, because these abilities are much better than anything else I could get by just upping, I don't know, hurt by 5. It doesn't matter, it gives me a little bit more key and a little bit more damage, but this thing really gives you what you want. Now, upgrading your spirit, you do it in the beginning. I usually choose Scato, and I upgrade this thing at 10, and then I never touch it again, at least until much, much, much later. So, do what you want, but that's what I usually do. Okay, so I think we have most of our things done. Oh yeah, as you can see right here we have 2 different kind of weapons, but not only weapons, you have 2 different kind of rarity. Now, white is your basic weapon, no really special ability. Then you have yellow, you have blue, you have purple, and that's all you have for the, I guess, the first part of the game, the normal game, normal difficulty. Then you start getting divine items, which is green, and then ethereal items, which are orange, glowing, like gold or something like that. And those are just in the last difficulty, so don't bother. Not now, anyway. You will, but you don't need to know that right now. So, as you can see, each weapon has some abilities. These are all pretty much randomly generated, depending on weapons, depending on a lot of stuff, level, rarity. Like this one is pretty much the best rarity I can get right now, and it has 4 special effects. These have 1. These are your range weapon. I have none right now, and this is your armor. Keep in mind, armor, the defense multiplier is not really important. What is important is the damage reduction. Now, obviously, heavy armor has the best damage reduction, and light armor has the worst damage reduction. Obviously, in light armor you're fast, and in heavy armor you're not so fast. But what's really important is not really your armor weight, but your level of agility. Now, if I'm in agility B, it doesn't matter if I have all heavy armor. My agility is still B, so I move like I'm all in medium armor because, I don't know, I have my stamina a lot and I can wear heavy armor like it's medium armor. It doesn't matter. So, if you put your stamina at 200, you can theoretically use heavy armor like it's light armor. I don't know, maybe not. But, you get the idea. So, that's pretty much it, I guess. So, keep in mind, do not play this game like it's Dark Souls. You can. It's not impossible. You can play all the game in mid-stance, and you can finish it, I'm sure. I mean, there are people who finish this thing at level 1, and, with this fist only or something like that. I can't do that. I'm not that good of a player. I'm just a guy who likes the game. And like, sure, you can play this whole game in mid stance, and let's face it, you will most likely in your first playthrough, because, you know, the concept of changing stances is not something that comes easy for a Dark Souls player. And also another thing, it's, I mean, you will probably, at least your first time, play this game with normal attacks like this. Now, after you unlock some skills, you should really start using the skills more than your regular attacks. Now, your regular attacks are good for setting up combos, like I'm getting closer, I do this, I keep pulse into this, and then I do a yai quick draw that I don't have right now. Can I learn it? No, I don't think so. I need 3 points, so no way I can learn it. Yeah, can't learn anything. Not even here. No, cannot. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You will learn to play the game when you play it, but I wanted to stress some important concept that gets asked all the time, like what's the best Guardian Spirit, what's the best weapon. There is no best weapon. I'm going to talk a little bit about the weapons, but honestly, everything is viable in this game. I mean, sure, okay, let me take that back a little bit. Now, the sword, to me, is the best weapon. It's the most versatile one, it does everything, and it's perfect. It does high damage, it's easy to use, it's great. Now, everything else is great too. Spear and Tonfa in late game, and by late game I mean the next difficulties, in like the last difficulty, they become a little bit underpowered, but they are, like, Tonfa are the best. They're amazing to use, they're fun, they're fast, I love them. And everything else, it's perfectly viable. I mean, use wherever you feel more comfortable with, it doesn't matter. And yeah, I mean, that's it. So, other things that people ask all the time is how to defeat on Ryoki, which is the first boss, and how to defeat Inoenma, which is the second boss. But I'm going to do another complete different video about that, so don't worry about it. So, having said that, I think you're ready to tackle your first Nioh adventure. So, go on, learn your stances, learn to dodge, learn to block when necessary, upgrade your spirit, and that's it. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.